It's about 6:30 on the evening of the Friday the 1st of March. We've literally got 3 or 4 more days of travel to go south before we've got to turn around to go back to the start again.
This man's name is Ian Prickett. He's one of 5 men attempting a world first to cross the Antarctic in a dark polar winter that is possibly as cold as it gets on Earth.
It's pretty windy, it's awfully cold, so I'm heading back down for a cup of tea while they do that.
It was to have been the pinnacle of a career that achieved spectacular heights for Sir Ranulph Fiennes. Described by the Guinness Book of Records as the world's greatest living explorer. But unfortunately, 3 weeks ago, Sir Ranulph was forced to drop out. As it happened over 30 years previously in the Arctic Circle, he got frostbite in his right hand. This time he fell while ski training near base camp and was trying to redo the binds on his boots. Veteran polar explorer and Dr. Mike Stroud has hiked both the North and South Poles with Sir Ranulph. Just before the expedition left Cape Town for the Antarctic, Stroud told us just how hard it is to work finicky details in such conditions.
Your hands and feet are the real deal. They go so quickly. And it's getting away in the morning and packing up in the evening, because you can't do up knots or do up buckles with 3, 4 sets of gloves on.
Which is exactly why Fiennes had taken his gloves off. The 5 remaining crew members, with varying levels of Antarctic experience, have meanwhile bravely continued on their way, but not without a farewell.
I just got to say that I think you lot, the 5 of you, I'm just amazed how we managed to get the team together with such brilliant people. And I have total and utter confidence in all of you.
Nevertheless, this giant of exploration wasn't pleased that he'd been forced to withdraw.
How'd you feel, Ryan?
Not happy. Not happy at all. It's a long time to spend everything, you know. But the good thing is that the dream is still continuing.
And in pursuit of that dream, the past couple of weeks have seen the team dropping off fuel depots far ahead of the expedition. The aim being to lighten the load for the bulldozers when they start the journey on Thursday.
Okay, well, as you can see, this is our fuel depot just here. We've got 80 drums that we've left here.
They're now poised and ready to set off from the coast with the remaining items, some fuel, their accommodation and their stores and all the other equipment.
After offloading the team in Antarctica, expedition co-leader Anton Bowring and his wife Jill had stopped by in Cape Town en route back to the United Kingdom. He said the operation had been daunting from the moment they arrived in Crown Bay.
And then it was a question of finding somewhere to put the ship so that we could unload all the stores and equipment onto the ice shelf.
The vehicles were swinging at the end of a crane. With the ice cracking and the ice blue water just a slip and a fall away, the job was a small feat in itself. The ice shelf onto which they unloaded gave way just 4 days after they finished. But there were no mishaps, and Anton said a few of their technical questions had already been answered after the offload.
We didn't know when we got down there exactly how successful the caterpillars would be at towing 80 tons of fuel and accommodation and everything behind them, particularly going up a slope from sea level to 3,500 meters above sea level. I mean, that's a hell of a thing to ask a bulldozer to do on ice.
And climbing up the 3,000 meters to the plateau holds potentially serious risks, and not only for the heavy equipment.
The early days are the difficult ones. They've got maximum weight, they've got maximum problems with crevasses and getting up onto the plateau from sea level, and they're new to it, so they're learning as they go.
And sometimes they're harder than others.
We're at the top of the mountain pass, 2,080 metres. Got in last night, the wind started to pick up. Unfortunately, the snow came in with it.
Himself a veteran of polar exploration, Anton says that once they've climbed the 3,000 meters, much of the hard work will already have been done.
Once they've got onto the plateau, they've got their depot laid, then the crossing of the plateau should be a slightly easier task. And of course, as they go, they're burning up more fuel, so the weight that they're pulling is less. And so the less weight, the easier it is for the caterpillars to travel.
Much of that weight comprises fuel, kept in something called flubbers, which are massive fuel bladders.
Each of the flubbers carries 8,000 litres, and there are 7 behind each caterpillar. And that's the fuel that they need to get them all the way across Antarctica.
Carrying the flubbers will be these custom-designed skis. And just in case you're wondering about the fuel freezing, well, it won't, because it's aviation fuel.
And the thing about aviation fuel is that it doesn't freeze, or, aeroplanes fly at high altitude and their fuel, luckily, stays fluid, and that's what we use.
Similar skis will also be carrying the 2 cabooses, one for the stores and the other the living quarters for the crew of 5, all pulled by the bulldozers in a train. This intrepid crew have 4,000 kilometers to go, passing the South Pole on the way. It's bound to be a hell of a cool ride.